What are you doing here? Hey, cool hip peeps. Welcome to another episode of the Catechism with Chris. I can't help myself. You just don't understand. It's so fun to do. Well, today we are going to look at the 10 Commandments. The 10 Commandments, right? Not the 10 suggestions, the 10 Commandments. I'm using the Book of Common Prayer, the 1979 version of that, and I am on page 847 in that book. And the link, somewhere in the sea of hashtags below, and the best description a silver-haired priest can provide for this series, the link is there. Okay, get on with it. All right. First question, what are the 10 Commandments, right? They're not the 10 suggestions. They are the 10 Commandments. What are they? Well, here's the answer. The 10 Commandments are the laws given to Moses and the people of Israel. So God wanted to initiate a relationship and come into covenant with the Hebrew people. They had to respond with their yes and believe him. And so then he outlines the parameters of the covenant for them, right? The commandments, if you will. And you say, I don't know about it. Well, every relationship has some commandments, right? I mean, in my relationship with Donisha, when we took vows, there were some things we had to agree to. There were some things that were off the limits. There were also some things that were permissible, but we had to kind of agree to a set of vows, right? Same when I became a priest. I had to agree to a set of vows. And that's how it is. Even with children, there are house rules, right? So don't get bent out of shape with God because he put down some house rules. Because you don't have house rules, and then you see what will happen to your house with these children's. Somehow, everybody's got some house rules, some things that are okay, some things that are not okay. And so, don't get down on God for having commandments, right? We all have some, right? I mean, honestly, yeah. All right. So what do we learn from these commandments? We learn two things, okay? Two things. The commandments, really, if you think about them, they're divided. There's a group and then a second group. And here it is. We learn these two things. Our duty to God, that's in the first part, and our duty to our neighbors. That's the second part. Our duty to God, first part. Our duty to our neighbors, second part. You say, what? My neighbors? How can I have duties to my neighbors? You don't know my neighbors. They're loud music and they're playing riffs of fire-breathing heavy metal and their finger-burning solo. That's probably what our neighbors say about us. Anywho, moving on. What is our duty to God, right? If we're going to be in a relationship, we're going to be in a covenant people with this old covenant. What is the duty to God? Here they are. Number one, to love and obey God and to bring others to know him. To love and obey God and to bring others to know him. Number two, to put nothing in the place of God. Nothing. Nothing. Okay. To show God respect in thought, word, and deed. And to set aside regular times for worship, prayer, and the study of God's ways. Well, Father Chris, not doing so good with those. Well, welcome to the club. Most of us are not doing so good with those. All right, what is our duty to our neighbors? I'm scared to find this out, given how good I'm doing. Well, to love, honor, and help our parents. Okay, stop there. Our duty to our neighbors is to love them as ourselves, and to do to other people as we wish them to do to us. That's called the golden rule, by the way. Do unto others as you would have them do back to you. This one's a toughie, right? I'll admit, not doing so good. So you're not out in the ballpark by yourself. Everybody watching this video who has an ounce of honesty in them is saying right now, ew. All right. To love, honor, and help our parents and family. You say, what? My family only calls me when they want something from me. You don't understand. You don't know my Uncle Shmuel. He isn't, right? Hey, I'm just telling you what it says, okay? To honor those in authority. What? I hate authority, you say. How can I honor somebody like, that public figure? How can I honor that person? Well, okay. Honor them, but here's the caveat. And to meet their just demands. There's a big difference between all demands and just demands. So we want to focus on that one part there. To love, honor, and help our parents and family, to honor those in authority, and to meet their just demands. Not their unjust demands, their just demands. To show respect for the life God has given us, to work and pray for peace, to bear no malice, prejudice, or hatred in our hearts, and to be kind to all the creatures of God. What? Yeah. Hey, you know what he said? These were, little things. They're big things. They really are. And we're not doing so good, are we? And that's the truth. We're just not doing so good with these. I haven't always done so good with these. I don't currently always do so good with these. And probably the truth is in the future, I won't always do so good with them either. It's a lot to show respect for the life God has given us. Some people don't respect that. They really don't, because they don't feel valuable. They don't feel loved. They don't feel lovable. They don't see themselves as special, as a creation of God. Right? Fair enough to say. We haven't always worked for peace. I've known, several instances where it would be better to just take this off, right, than it would be to do peace. To bear no malice, no evil in my heart. Prejudice. That one we're still struggling with it, aren't we? Yeah, racially, otherwise. people who are not a part of our socioeconomic position. People don't share our political beliefs. People that don't like Christian mercy metal music. I'm just saying. To be kind to all the creatures of God. It's not just people. Animals. Being kind to our animals. All the creatures. The bugs, the insects. Well, I'd like to tell you it gets better. The next one is to use our bodily desires as God intended. That one's kicking our butts, isn't it? That one is. I mean, I can be nice to the neighbor's pet while they're walking by and say, Fifi looks great, fresh from the groomer. What a cute puppy, right? Or, I'm not going to kill you, little ant, for no reason. But to harness our bodily desires and use them as God intended. Because I want to use them as I intend, right? That one's hard. That one's hard. Harnessing our bodily desires to be used as God intended. How about this one? To be honest and fair in our dealings, to seek justice, freedom, and the necessities of life for all people, and to use our talents and possessions as one who must answer for them to God. Father Chris, you're bumming me out, man, with these things. To be honest and fair with our dealings, right? Fail. No, I promise you, Jim, you pulled this car off the lot. This one's a real jewel, right? A day later, the tow truck's hauling the clunker away. Honest and fair dealings. To seek justice, the right thing, not the easy thing, the right thing. The right thing is never easy. I'll just say that. It's not. Freedom and the necessities of life for all people, not just the ones who are like us or the ones we like, but for all people. All people. That comes back to understanding that human life is sacred. It's sacred. We want all people to have everything that they need. When you break it down, what people need, they need food, water, clothing, shelter, and community. All people, whether they're working or they're not working, whether they're the same color or they're not the same color, whether they're from the same country or they're not the same country, whether they're from the great Anglican tradition or they're not. They're from those other people, right? Oh. To use our talents and possessions as one who must answer for them to God. Oh boy. Let that one sink in. Hey, it's heavy stuff, all right? What do you want me to do about it? It's just truth, right? Truth's not always patty cake time. It's not always time for Bozo the Clown. It's tough sometimes. Truth is hard sometimes. Because the truth tells us who we really are as a people and as a person. To speak the truth and not mislead others by our silence. Honey, how does this dress look on me? Well, it's easier than to say, I wouldn't know. Misleading others by our silence. You know, when you think about it, we can mislead other people by the things we say, but we can also mislead them by saying nothing sometimes. What are we to do? How about this one? To resist temptations to envy, greed, and jealousy. To rejoice in other people's gifts and graces, and to do our duty for the love of God, who has called us into fellowship with him. That's a lot. To resist temptations? You mean I got to resist temptations, brother? Yeah. Well, we're supposed to. I don't know how good we're doing it, but we're supposed to. Especially when it comes to greed. The green-eyed monster. Having enough, but wanting more. More. It's never enough. It's never enough. What about rejoicing in other people's gifts and graces? Sometimes it's hard to do if you don't feel like you have any gifts or graces. It's hard to be excited for other people. It really is. It's hard to be like, yeah, you got that new job you always wanted when I'm on unemployment. It's hard. And our duty for the love of God, who has called us into fellowship with him. It's important to remember, in context of a community, that the things that I do or the things that I don't do, they don't just affect me. They affect others in my community. And that's how it is in the community of God. The things that we do, they don't just affect me. They affect everybody that's in community with me, right? If I post a post and you don't like it, and you are a cool hip priest, cool hip peeps person, and you're on here and you look at what we do and you give a rip about what's happening, and I post something you don't like, it affects you. Or if I don't post something, it also can affect you. So, question: what is the purpose of the Ten Commandments? All of that summed up. What is the purpose of all of that? Other than to make me feel, Here's the answer. The Ten Commandments were given to define our relationship with God and our neighbors. The house rules, the definition of how we're to be as people. People of God in particular. Question: since we do not fully obey them, are they useful at all? Right? Well, Father Chris, you've read these things, and by all accounts, I am just not doing so good. I'm not doing very good. I'm not doing very good. Me. Since we all admit here that we're failing at every single one of them, are they useful at all? What's the point? Why do we even need them other than to constantly bring up how much I stink? Here's the answer. Since we do not fully obey them, we see more clearly our sin and our need for redemption. When I look at the Ten Commandments, it tells the truth about who I am on the inside and the outside. And it also tells me that I need some help. It tells me that I'm a sinner. It tells me that I'm a lawbreaker. It tells me that I fail to keep the house rules of God. I'm not even sure I can do it ever. One of them, let alone all 10. I don't know. That's their purpose. The 10 Commandments are important. They're important because they reveal the truth of who we are. And more importantly, they tell us that we need help. And admitting you need help is the first step anywhere on the road to recovery, on the road to better. Admitting that we have failed and that we've not done well and we need help. We need to be saved from ourselves and from this miserable condition that the commandments truly reveal about us. Man. Well, that should be enough for you to chew on. What now? Luckily, luckily for us, in the very next lesson of the Catechism, we're going to study sin and redemption. Fanfare. All right. Yeah. Well, it's often said to get to the top of the mountain, you got to go down and up. It's kind of where we are right now. So let us sit in that tension and ponder our place with God. And next time, we're going to pick up sin and redemption. I love you. God bless you. Come back. You better come back. Don't make me break a